Great. Welcome to Digital Asset News. I get top stories in crypto, breaking down in bite-sized pieces. So today, just as the thumbnail and the title suggest, there's some irregularities and some concerns for some on-chain data. So I want to bring this to your attention so you can make the best decision for yourself. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the data does show some concerns, but there's some conflicting data or conflicting action in some very important walls. We'll take a look. Also, BitMEX CEO is a total wet blanket with his new post, but unfortunately, he might be correct. And lastly, we'll take a look at some good news. Luna adds 4 cryptos to its bridge, plus Ray Dalio's diversify advice. And lastly, we'll do 5 questions in 5 minutes. So if you're welcome to the live stream, thanks so much for stopping by on this, what is it? It's Wednesday. Shoot, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday already. Wow, time's flying. If you're new, just so you know, live stream, if you're watching the replay, just know there's going to be timestamps below. News takes about 10, 15 minutes or so, and then 5 questions in 5 minutes. Let's jump in because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So this is what we got. Here is the market itself. So if we take a look at the market, a little bit of rebound. That's pretty good. Everybody's happy. Everything's static. Hey, yeah, 2.2. All right. But just when I say when in doubt, zoom out, I mean that for everything. So we take the small wins. Today, I guess, would be a small win, I guess. But in all honesty, I mean, just to get above 2 trillion isn't a really big win. We were at, don't forget, not too long ago, we were at 3.2 trillion. But again, take the small victories for what they are. Today, Bitcoin's up 2.9, Ethereum's up 2%, BNB, blah, 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 XRP. Everything's up. XRP's looking like they might win their lawsuit. I don't really have I've just been watching different videos on it, so a lot of people do better than me talking about that, but looks pretty positive. Cardano's up, it was 2%, 5%. But remember, this is in 24 hours. Look, the 7-day. I mean, Doge down 18%, Terra down 24%, Solana down 17%. I mean, it's a good day, but in the grand scheme of things, we got a long way to go. And then if we take a look, well, what's going on? Why is this up so much? Well, don't have to look too far. Just take a look at the S&P 500. I mean, they just opened up, it's 11, a couple hours ago or so, and they're having a nice little rally. Good for the traditional stock market. Also, NASDAQ is also on a nice little tear today. So good for them. I know the CPI numbers came out, 8% it was, and probably not going to go higher, and tanked yesterday. But today it looks like they're rallying. Let me just see what's the 5-day. Look at that. 5 days. And it almost looks kind of like crypto, doesn't it? And that's what we've been talking about here for a while. So that's what's going on in the market. Let's jump into today's top story, Data shows some concerns. But let's take a look at some wallets. So I just want to show this to you. This is a great website. It's Into the Block. And there's a link in the description. It's not an affiliate link, but you can find it. It really breaks down on-chain analysis very simply. And it's not super expensive like Glassnode or where that website is. It's super expensive. This one is I want to say it's like $6 or $7 a month. Very cheap. And it gets a lot of great info. So what I want to bring to your attention is 2 things: ownership and large holders inflow. I just thought this was interesting. You can back it up all the way to 2010, but I'm just looking at around July 2020 to the present. And what we have here is 3 sections. Really, well, we have 4. The price of Bitcoin, retail, which are the small investors like me and you, investors, which own between 0.1 and 1%, and the whales, which are 0.1% or higher of the status of Bitcoin. So there's not too many whales here. And what I found was interesting was that it just seems like here it was a ton of whales. Not a ton, but I mean, as far as whales go, they own 227,000 Bitcoin. Good for them. And then they just disappeared. I don't know if this is a data issue or what it was, but as far as 2020 on, there was no whales. So it really became, I don't know if they sold off or what happened, but they sold off at the right time because now it went all the way up. And if we want to talk about smart money, look at this. Look at this. The price at its peak was around 69,000. This one says 63, but whatever. Okay. And there wasn't that many whales. But then as it started to go down, then all of a sudden, whales, smart money, you might say, they start to buy in at the top, which is kind of weird, isn't it? Like we've always been told, well, smart money, they got a lot of money and they're hanging around and blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't show that right here. However, they did get in. They did start accumulating down here at 37,000, 38,000. So, okay, I can see it. And there's more whales going this way. And then retail has just been steady. But what I want to mention here is this. See all this retail right here? Retail did what retail does, which is, as you can see, it starts to decrease the amount of retail. It means they were selling off. And who were they selling off to? They were selling to investors and the whales. Well, I guess just investors, and those investors became whales. So as time goes on, this moniker really does hold true, which is people, retail, people like me and you, we get a little scared, we start selling off for the dumbest reasons, and then all of a sudden it starts to go up. Now, this is not investment advice, just investment opinion. And you can just see that these investors had a pretty great time, but they were buying up here, so maybe not so bad. Then it kind of comes down here, not so much, and then off we go. Then over here, I got to tell you, actually, retail did a pretty good job on this side here. Maybe they got smarter. They started to grab Bitcoin down here. Oh no, excuse me, that's not right. They started to accumulate at 58,000. Okay, that makes more sense than over here. But I will say this: as time has gone on, we flattened out as far as the retail. Looks like everybody's holding strong. Maybe everybody gets it. Maybe it's a hold on for a while. That's all we got. So that's the first one. But this thing concerns me. So if it does hold true that smart money does what smart money does, and they start to accumulate at these appropriate times, this is large holders inflow. What the heck is this? So if we take a look at the definition, large holders inflow, any holder with over 0.1% of the circulating supply of a large cap crypto asset, such as Bitcoin, holds a substantial amount of funds, or these guys with over 0.1%. Therefore, large holder inflow track the funds going into addresses belonging to whales or investors. So when we talk about large holder inflow, we're talking about the big guys and gals. So what is this? Why is this important? Large holder inflow suggests strong buying activity taking place. Many of these addresses buy on centralized exchanges and then transfer into cold storage. Spikes in large holder inflows can point to bottoms in prices as these addresses tend to buy in size following significant correction. So obviously right here, here's a great example. In black is the price of Bitcoin. As it went way down, this is in 2021, yeah, we had a big influx of these whales and investors. They bought like crazy. Good for them. And then it went up. They still bought. Look at this. They still bought a little bit, because they thought, because even though they're smart money, they don't have a crystal ball. It goes down, 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 and they see a huge spike again, right? And then, but what's interesting here is that they hit this spike right here, and they missed it, and they missed this one, and some of the smartest ones got this one, and then as it started to like a little bit of a rally, then they started to buy back again. So why is this important? This is important because of this, and this was actually in the thumbnail. I found it very interesting that, first of all, there was spikes over here, which makes sense. January 30th, 2022, when the price of Bitcoin is 37,000. So these whales, these investors, they're in the money right now. Good for them. And then as it goes over here, they didn't buy so much, but they still bought here, 42,000. They still bought here, again, 42,000. They bought it 36,000, 38,000. What's concerning to me is that as we go over here, of course, the price goes up to 47. They buy a little bit, but they don't buy so much. See where we're at right now down here? Do you see anybody buying? There's not much activity to this point. So it makes me think, as we go over here and nobody's really buying, then maybe we got a little bit longer way to go down. That's the bad news. Here's the good news, though. And remember, it's all about a mentality. What are you here for? How long are you here for? Are you here for a couple of weeks or a month? Well, good luck. If you're here for 3, 4, 5-year plan, might do pretty good. And I think these two are. So if we take a look at, this is the LFG wallet, which is Luna, Do Kwon, in that group. today, this morning, it is April 13th, right? Okay. They just bought 2,500 Bitcoin. That's a lot of Bitcoin. Someone do the math for me. 2,500 Bitcoin just this morning. So maybe they know something we don't. And also, whale number 3, or wallet number 3, the infamous, yesterday they bought 417, then 138, then a couple days ago they bought 143 and 17 and 75, and so on and so forth. So there's some conflicting data, it looks like. I don't know which way it's going to go. Nobody really knows, but in the wallets, that looks pretty good. But it leads me to my second point. And this is the BitMEX CEO, Arthur Hayes. I know he's had a little bit of a checkered past and those other things, but give it to the guy. I mean, he did figure out that, hey, people want to do a lot of leverage trades, as we've seen before. And for BitMEX, which he co-created, did a pretty good job of as far as like that exchange. So this is what's going on with him and what he believes to be true. And again, I bring these things to you to show all sides of the story. Here's what we got. So BitMEX CEO says Bitcoin could drop to 30K. And it's all about stock market routes. Because right now, it's a nice little rally, right? It's a pretty good day. It'll go up forever. Well, actually, hold on. In 1 day. Actually, that's kind of interesting. 5 days? How about a month? Still pretty good. How about 6 months? Ugh, not too good. How about over a year? Not too good. Let's take a look at the S&P. 5 days. 1 month. Okay. 6 months. Still up there. 1 year. Still burning pretty good. So depending on what you think, I personally believe people are treating Bitcoin like a tech stock, which is what NASDAQ would be too, but it's just me. Okay. Stock market route. And he says it very eloquently. While the long-term crypto market is bright, the short-term perspective is scary, potentially. So this is what we got. This downturn that we've been seeing is being attributed to the Federal Reserve expected rate hikes, as economists believe the U.S. Central Bank is expected to deliver 2 back-to-back half-point interest rate hikes in May and June. So there's 2 things I want to talk about real quick. We did a video just a couple of days ago, and we took a look at data as far as recession. So I linked that in the comments or in the description below. You can take a look at it. We took a look at different data points, the CPI, the PPI. We took a look at 2 and 10-year yields and how they flipped and how they flipped back, but exactly what's going on. Me personally, the Fed's trying to do a soft landing, very difficult to do. And then also on top of that, we also did this video. This was 2 weeks ago, and it was called Sell in May and Go Away. And I know for some of you in the traditional finance world, you know this very well. And the video that we took a look at, it was data points, which went back all the way until the early 1900s, as far as the traditional stock market in the United States and globally as well. And a lot of data does point that things start to slump off after May, and then they start to rally back in October. Will that happen again? Well, I'll tell you my plans in a bit. Anyhow, the survey economists also predict the chance of a recession happening next year is 40%. Also, Deutsche Bank also believes the same thing's going to happen around 18 months. We will see. Hayes believes the end of the petrodollar, eurodollar monetary system is drawing closer. I think we can actually agree on that one. He predicted gold's value could reach 10K per ounce, while Bitcoin marches to $1 million per coin. First of all, I would love to see that, not just for the fact that I've got a couple of Bitcoin, but the fact that finally the gold bugs and the Bitcoin maximalists could actually get together and agree on something that price goes up. So I hope that actually does happen. That'd be great. But it's like I've always said, I think the next savings account is gold, silver, Bitcoin. So moving on, Hayes is clear that the Federal Reserve has put a stop to monetary easing practices, and that time has ended. NASDAQ down 30, down 50. Your guess is as good as mine. But let's be clear, the Fed isn't planning to grow its balance sheet again anytime soon, meaning equities aren't going any higher. I know there's been other people that will say that no. What they're going to do is they're going to try to increase the rates, and when the rates start to shutter the economy, then they're going to fire up the printers. That remains to be seen. I don't know if they're going to do it or not, but it would stand to reason if they want to stave off inflation or even stagflation or God help us deflation. I don't see how they can keep printing. I know they're in a rock and a hard place, but sometimes you got to choose the lesser of two evils. And I think the lesser of two evils is not to print. Again, could be wrong. Let's finish this up. So, Hayes predicts Bitcoin will drop to 30K per unit, ETH to slide to 2,500. Here's the question. If it does do that, let me know in the comments right now, because we're going to do a Q&A in a bit. What do you do when Bitcoin goes to 30K and Ethereum goes down to 2,500, which isn't really that bad, honestly. Ethereum to 2,500 and Bitcoin to 30K. Can you handle that? Is that a good news? Would you like to accumulate? Or is that the most awful news because you went in too hard? So he does say like this, there isn't much science to these numbers other than a gut feeling. And also, instead of that gut feeling, I want to make mention of this one point right here. He talks about the correlation for Bitcoin to NASDAQ. And correlation points, it's between -1, 0 to 1, +1. Anything that's positively correlated means it's in lockstep. So to be perfectly correlated, that would be a 1. 0 is neutral, and negative, like a -1, will be it does the exact opposite. Meaning, if Bitcoin went up, the S&P would shoot down. That would be a negative. I believe it's very positive. And right now, we're at 0.59 correlation. That's like 0.6. Let's just say it's 0.6, right? Anything above, I would say a half would be pretty damn correlated. Just a guesstimate here. And one thing to note here is that as far as like correlation to these stocks, and I think we can all agree stocks are going to take a hit as soon as these basis points get rolled out by the Fed. This was an article on March 23rd. Bitcoin's correlation to S&P 500 hits 17-month high. Well, how much was that? So that was 0.49. And that was on March 23rd. Let me do some quick math. Roughly 3 weeks, we went from 0.49, which was a 17-month high, to all the way now to 0.59 correlation. So I have to ask, how much more correlated do you need it to be? I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments, but it looks like it's pretty correlated. Anyhow, he states the annoying part is that there are a number of altcoins that have begun to accumulate because the prices are attractive, even though some of these coins are down 75%. I don't believe even they can escape the coming crypto carnage. We know that's true. Altcoins usually gets rocked as Bitcoin goes down. But he does say, as such, I am buying Crash June 2022 puts on both Bitcoin and Ether. As such, I am buying Crash June 2022. Again, selling may go away. It's something to consider, something to think about for you. Not to do, just to think. Not financial advice. He says market prognosis might be wrong. He says, I will be wrong if the correlation between Bitcoin, Ether, and NASDAQ starts dropping before a crash in risk asset markets. I'm perfectly okay with that outcome as I'm already in a long crypto position. So real quick, here's the thing. Me and you don't see crypto as a risk-on asset, but everybody else or a lot of other people in the world do. They see it as a very risky prospect. They see commodities as not that risky. And some people still see gold as like the safest alternative. It's just how it is. You know, we're just ahead of the curve. We're front running all of these billionaires and large institutions. It's just the truth. Congratulations, you're front running people. The question is, what happens if this does happen? Do you have a plan in place? Do you know what you want to do? Do you just want to buy some more? Or are you going to sit there and be like, wow, I just lost my A and maybe I shouldn't have dumped so much into it? Or is it not a big thing? I just want to know where people are. So let me know that in the comment section. And here's the thing I was going to tell you. So for me personally, I'm not the person these days to say buy every dip, because it doesn't work that well for every single time. It just depends on what you want to do, because everybody's goals are different. My goals are not your goals. But I will say this. I have said it for the longest time. I don't sell the crypto until I need crypto for whatever projects that I have. Now, as time moves forward, in June, July, August, September, I'm going to get into another big project, and I'm going to need a little bit of crypto. Now, I could take a loan against that crypto, but speaking from experience, I can tell you that if you take loans at crypto, just be prepared to over collateralize, because you will get margin called. So around May, I'm going to take not a sizable, but an amount of profits for my crypto because I need to get into some more real estate in the next 6, 9, and 12 months. Additional real estate. And I'm not here to sell when things go super low. I'm here to sell at some reasonable point. I might take a loan, but I don't know if that's really the best play. So just that is what I am doing. Now, again, let me be 100% clear. That's just what I'm doing. Doesn't mean you have to do that. I'm just saying that I believe that with these rates that are going to push out by the Fed, that the housing market will actually cool and start to eventually collapse as time goes on. So at that point, I want to be ready to scoop up those houses as the price dips. That's just me. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section. Oh, that will be spicy as we go on. Let's move on to our last two pieces. Luna adds for crypto. So just real quick, I thought it was interesting. Terra's cross-chain bridge now supports Solana, Avalanche, Phantom, Moonbeam, and Osmosis, which I didn't really know they had this. Cross-chain bridge tech has come a long way over the past 12 months. In mid-September, there was over 7 billion TVL. And today, cross-chain bridges to Ethereum hold 19 billion in value. It's pretty good. Bridge.Terra Money now supports Avalanche, Solana, Osmosis, Phantom, and Moonbeam Network. Easiest way to move funds in crypto, said Do Kwon. He also shared a screenshot of the protocol, which looks something like this. This looks that's a nice user interface. Osmosis, Secret, Infected. They got a lot, actually. In addition to the newly added Solana, Phantom, Moonbeam, they also support Ethereum, BSC, or Binance Smart Chain, Harmony, Secret, Injective, Cosmos, and Polygon. The Terra network has been a prominent fixture in decentralized finance in recent times, and it's the second largest TVL. And that got me thinking, well, are they really the second? If you take a look at DeFiLlama.com/chains, I put in the link in the description so you don't have to take my advice for it. But if you take a look at the TVL, Ethereum is far and away the biggest, 117 billion. And over a month, they've actually increased by 12%. That's pretty good over a month. I mean, now in 7 days, they're down a little bit because people got scared. They took their money out. That's how it is. Terra is second, and they were up 9% in 1 month at 26 billion. The next closest one is Binance Chain, and it's not really that close. It's 13 billion to 26 billion, which is pretty amazing. Avalanche is 10 billion. Solana, 6 billion. Phantom, 5.8. Polygon, 4.5. Tron, 4 billion. Great. Near is 1.21 and a bunch of other ones. And then, of course, the one that gets a lot of guff. I still own Cardano. I like Cardano. Cardano's at, they were up 30% for the month, though, and they're now at 236 million. So not too bad. Moon River, 24%. So that's amazing. I think that they locked up that much and haven't lost that much. And yeah, that's good news, I think. Interesting about the comment section. And then let's finish it up. Oh, sorry. I didn't blow it up there. Sorry. I want to give you some sage advice from Ray Dalio. And this was a great interview. It was with Lewis Howes. And first of all, who's Ray Dalio? If you don't know, I mean, people always talk about Ray, like, oh, Ray Dalio, great investor. Who is Ray Dalio? So he's a billionaire, hedge fund manager, co-chief investment officer of the world's largest hedge fund, Bridgewater Associates. Dalio is regarded as one of the greatest investors or innovators in the finance world, having popularized many commonly used practices such as risk parity, currency overlay, portable alpha, and global inflation index bond management. Received his MBA from Harvard, launched Bridgewater, and it was listed as the largest hedge fund in the world. Bloomberg ranked him as the world's 79th wealthiest person. So to say that he knows what he's doing as far as finance is kind of an understatement. Can we just agree that? Okay, one thing we can agree on. So this is what he talks about as far as diversification. The reason I bring this up today is because of things that we just talked about before, and it's something to consider because you've got other people who will say, yeah, you shouldn't diversify, just roll it all into one thing. Sure, I guess. But this is coming from a pretty influential guy. So this is about 2 minutes or so. And let me stop the screen so you can hear it. I'm going to mute myself so you don't hear me or no echo. Just take a listen. 2 minutes.
And then avoid the following mistake, the most common mistake of investing, thinking that the investment that did good is a good investment. People rather more expensive. The things that quite often, those markets that did really, really well became more expensive, and everybody, smart money, is all the time comparing them and competing. So what happens is the naive money buys the thing that was hot or is hot. The thing that has been terrible, which might be the thing that's beaten down. So I would say also an important element. Okay, so here's another one that's really important. Diversify.
So don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right, because what I learned about this is that, first of all investments compete. And it's not easy to tell whether one investment is better than the other, because if people could do that, life would be easy and everybody'd make a ton of money. And this is a competitive game that's very difficult to compete in. So it's very difficult to say which one's better or worse. You could take experts and you could and do all sorts of tests, and you'll find out that they can pick that, and you can't tell whether the worst ones are going to be better. So because of that, you understand that even picking the best ones is difficult, and particularly if you're naive. Like, we spend hundreds of millions of dollars each year on research to try to give us an edge.
Wow.
Okay. Now you've got to compete with us. So competing in the markets is more difficult than competing in the Olympics. You wouldn't go think I'm going to compete in the Olympics, but there are more people who try harder in order to do that. So it's a zero-sum game. So, but diversification, that they're different, will reduce your risk without reducing your return.
Yeah.
So if you know how to diversify well, so that's critical. So I would say, again, get your savings right. And the reasons I say, I would say, have great humility about what you don't know. Don't buy the thing that was hot. Don't just because you think it's hot. And then know how to diversify well. Those would be the most important things I could convey.
Yeah, there you go. That's coming from one of the wealthiest people in the world with the largest hedge fund in the globe. So I can't really say it much better than that. Anyhow, just bring it to your attention because I think diversification is a savior. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up. Went a little bit longer today. Sorry about that, but a lot of things going on. If you liked it, thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. And now, if you got time, stick around. We'll do 5 questions in 5 minutes, and I'll try to answer your most burning questions. If not, adios. So let's get to it, shall we? Sideshow Bob says it right. Diversification and periodic rebalancing. Excellent points. Yeah, I need to rebalance that. I had to do that myself. I had to cut some losers in my crypto portfolio. They might be winners, but they have underperformed, and that's just how it goes. The longer you're in, the longer you realize that, hey, sometimes this doesn't work out. I don't care. I don't have to have everything hit in my portfolio, just a couple, and I'll be okay. That's the risks we take, or I take. And let's see. Oh, great. James is clueless. Listen, man, James is a really smart guy, and he went to Wharton College. And I know it turns off some people that talks about Solana a lot, but Solana's a pretty good chain. Now, is Solana going to be your winner? I don't know. Are you 100% sure it's going to be a loser? Well, then it's up to you. I personally own Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, Chainlink, Avalanche, Near. I own bullet of them. I don't care which one wins. I'm not here to have a date with any of these cryptos. I just want one of them to make it, or two. That's all I care about. Anyhow, that's what's up. That was funny. Miguel, Voyager card update. I have it right here. I have it right here in my hand, and I'm going to activate it today. I've just been so busy, I haven't done it. And actually, I was talking to my lawyer in Puerto Rico this morning, and he was talking about, he's like, I finally got into crypto and Coinbase. I'm like, well, better, I guess, not my personal choice. And then he says, I'm getting a little yield on it. I'm like, great. And I told him about Voyager and 9% for USDC. He's like, I got to write that down. I'm like, yeah, write that down, because like your bank's going to give that anything to it. And and for everybody out there, I reached out to Steve, the CEO of Voyager, on Twitter. I said, hey man, with what happened with Celsius and BlockFi and Exo and things that are going on, if you want to come onto my channel and air or talk about it, you have a platform to talk. He goes, and I said, I understand if legal won't let you, but the offer is there. And he responded, he said, I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted. So when he comes on, because I think the interesting thing is, where's this going to go as far as like with Voyager and how Celsius did things. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch my video from yesterday. And it was all about Celsius and accredited investors and them shutting off yield for U.S. citizens if you're not an accredited investor. Only in the U.S. So Jade's got a good question. Rob, do you think the biggest problem with whale accumulation of Bitcoin is all over the counter sales or OTC versus buying on exchanges in the open market? Can small retail still drive this market? Well, first of all, at some point, I know I've said about this before, and it gets so repetitious when I say it, but there is a supply shock coming at some point. I just don't know when it is. And at some point, that's going to dry up. So the OTC and things that are moving and the strategy that Michael Saylor came about, well, he didn't come up with it, but he did work very closely with Coinbase to really not move the market. At some point, it's going to dry up. I just don't know when it is, but it's coming. And me personally, I think there's two ways it comes. First of all, we have to get through this negative crunch that's going to come from the U.S., which is going to affect globally, with especially those rates and what's going to happen on the stock market, things I just talked about. Second thing is that Ukraine and Russia, that has to come to a resolution, because no one knows where it's going to branch out to. I don't care what your opinion is on that. This is not a political, but at some point, those two sides have to wind down, and they have to get a little bit of a peace to really balance out or even out this market. And the third thing that has to happen is regulation, and not regulation to where like they put the clamp on it, but just clarity. When I say regulation, I mean clarity. What's a security? What's a commodity? What's a currency? And if they can just say that and give clarity to these institutions, I think they can actually come in. You know what I'd rather have, just between us? Just say it's all security. I don't care. Say it's all security. And then all the different exchanges have to go, okay, we'll register as security. You want your money? Whatever. We know what you're all about. They register as security. We're selling securities. Everything goes through. Fine. It's the same thing that Robinhood does. They sell securities all day. They're called equities. They're called stocks. Great question. Number 3, Fame MMA video. That's going to be done today. So look, when I talk about diversify, there's a point. I think this is the next thing. If you guys, so Dana White said it really well. Dana White from UFC. He said, no one's going to stop. Not everybody's going to stop and watch a cricket match, because no one really cares about cricket as a sport. Not nobody, but a lot of people in the United States. Some people aren't going to sit around and watch football because it doesn't really make any sense to them, especially if you're in Europe. They're like, who cares? We won't watch soccer. But he says everybody's going to sit around and watch a fight. And this Fame MMA is going to go very heavy into crypto on their own token. I'll talk all about it. That's it. Yeah, let's see. Jeff's got a great question. Are you missing Puerto Rico? Yes. Because today, anything below 80 degrees now is cold for me. Sad, I know. I'm weak person. But man, this morning it was in El Paso. It was like, I want to say 58 in the morning with wind, like heavy winds. So it sucked. Yeah, I miss that part. Miss the people I met there too. Yeah, that's right. Look, man, you don't become king of the shill just by being an amateur. That's just how it is. You got to really, it's constant. It's a constant battle to become this.
King of the shill.
Let's see. It's up to you. I'm still holding on. So I'm still, I'm still holding for on the VGX. Of course, I will tell you this. If it comes out, like, you know what I'm curious of? I haven't even looked at this. I need to jump back. Share the screen. I wanted to take a look at how the news affected Celsius token. I didn't even look. It's on the 105. Oof, well, that does make sense. So with the news of Celsius, and of course, them not offering yields to non-accredited investors in the United States, which is a lot of people, went from 250 to, that's not that bad. In all honesty, it's not that bad. Over 7 days, okay. But that could be just the market. I think the news hits right here, goes down enough. So Voyager, I will just tell you this. If you hold the Voyager token and that same news comes out, I would expect it to, I don't know why it spiked here. It made any sense. I would expect it to drop just like that. So just be aware. Got to call a spade a spade. Is Voyager relevant? I'm pretty sure, I think it is. I'm not 100%, but check on that one. Yeah, hit a thumbs up. It's the only way that that YouTube will get it going. UFC has a token coming. Yeah, that's all going to be tokenized. What I like about this one about Fame is that, so Fame MMA, if you don't know, I didn't know, it's based in Poland. And they're branching out into Spain and parts of UK and stuff like that. They're actually going to pay their franchisees in this token. They're also going to be paying their fighters in the token. And here's the crazy thing. Their fighters, they're all like EU celebrities and influencers. So like if you think about, to me personally, as a marketer at one point, I always think about, how am I going to get this message out? Well, I need marketing. So if I have celebrities or people who already have a following, and they're talking about, I'm going to be fighting in, in Fame MMA. And also I'm going to use this token. And this token, if you want to get it, it's X amount, and you can actually get an NFT. You can pay for the pay-per-view. You can pay for the tickets. You can pay for the merchandise. And you can stake it. I'm telling you, if you do something like that, that is a marketing machine that's pretty tough to beat. Watch, I'll get the video out soon. See, like, I didn't know. Like Mark says, I'm in Poland. It's huge. I had no idea. Well, it's because I'm not in Poland. That's why. Oof, that's not good. Sri Lanka, $50 billion. That's going to really mess up their economy. Yeah, so, and then Thomas says, so now the accredited investor can not only make more interest, they're the only ones that can make interest. You should keep your status, just use your money. So I'm an accredited investor. If I wanted to put my paperwork in, I could with Celsius. But I'm like, why? That is not fair. It's not fair that I get it and you don't get it. Just because what? You just haven't hit this threshold yet? It's stupid. So like, and I talked about this yesterday. You're more savvy of an investor than you know. It's okay for you to go into Sands Casino in Vegas. I think I'm showing my age. I don't think it's even around anymore. And you can gamble your life away. And they're like, well, sorry you lost it all, but don't you invest in any things that's up and coming in technology, because that's for accredited investors, son. You're not smart enough. That's what they're saying to you. That's the truth. And it's not true. I don't know what that is. Yep. And Turk says, Rob is trading crypto and PR tax-free. You are 100% right. I pay zero capital gains. So is that a fault on me that I do that? And there's a video I did. I talk about moving to Puerto Rico and how great it is. I'm not cheating anybody. These are the laws that I'm giving, and I play within the rules. And it's the same way I talk about regulation. If you give regulation to people and know where things are going, and they play by the rules. So I'm not in some offshore account. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. And I don't apologize for it. Wallet 3 is James. Wallet 3 is, I don't know that guy. He sounds irrelevant. And, oh, okay. Last question. We got to get out of here. What does one do to become an accredited investor? First of all, you have to make $200,000 or $300,000 per year, depending, especially if you're single or if you're married, or if you have a corporation where you make over $5 million. And there's one more criteria. So basically, you have to make a lot of money to be considered smart and savvy, which makes no sense to me. The smartest people I know don't have that much money. And that's it. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. So thanks so much. So look, that's it for today. Thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. If you like today's video, give it a thumbs up. Also consider subscribing. Let's talk about our time sensitive. And also, any reviews of new projects are not on this channel. It's on my second channel called Digital Asset News, or Dan DGen. There's a link in the description. It just says follow Digital Asset News, and it has my Twitter account and the second YouTube channel. That's where I'm going to do the deep dive as far as Fame MMA. And that's it. So thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next one. Adios.